Hello everybody, welcome to the KVCORE Drip Campaign Mastery Group, and here is one of my newest videos that I am going to show you how to quickly create a email template and get it set up to start building a campaign, which is what I'm doing currently. I'm trying to find the easiest, fastest way to make it as most efficient, so I thought I would just share with you a quick tip on what I found that helped a little make it faster. Okay, first of all, the biggest beef I have is that I can't create campaigns in here and share them. I've got to create them for anybody who wants them. I got to manually come in and create them right now, unless you're on my team here in Scottsdale, which most of you are not. So here we go. Let me just show you what I found to be one of the easiest, fastest things we could do. I went in and built a template up. So for instance, I've got a template pre-made so that I could start building up all of my templates. So I'm going to use this base template for all of my seller campaign emails. Okay, so I built the template, and then from there I'm going to clone the thing. And let me make sure, you know what, let me get this stretched out a little bit more so you can see what I'm doing. So I am going to clone it, and so you can see I have the template. I'll get this out of the way here. All right, move over. So you can see I have the template made. I've got a spot here for the content of the campaign. I added a couple of buttons here, and then the signature line content box. I use the advanced editor for this, and it's a drag and drop service or system in here. And so I just dragged and dropped in all the stuff that I needed, right? And so basically what I'm going to do now is go grab the template that I've created and start just copying and pasting into the existing template, so I'm not having to reinvent this wheel. One thing you need to know is that if you're using the advanced editor, what I've realized is that you have to put in the email signature field or it won't work. And when you're in the basic editor, you have, I think, an option to check a box and have it go, but it doesn't work here like that. So you do have to make sure you get the field in for your signature line. Okay, so let me grab the email template now and we'll copy and paste it in. So I went over to my Word document and grabbed it. So I'm going to just go right here now and paste it in. So here's some quick tips for you. I had a name for on my template in my Word document. I have all my templates in there, and they're in a table. And so what I did is I put in a description and the subject line right above it, and I just basically went in and copied all of it at one time, and I'm pasting it here, okay? So now we know we don't want to leave this in the letter, so I'm just going to come in here. This is easier than going back and forth, and I'm going to cut it out, and then I'm going to go in here and replace the existing template name, which is just the default that I had, right? And I'm going to do the same for the subject line, right? So I went in and I put in all of the fields right into the body of my Word document, or wherever you guys want to do it. So make sure that you've got the fields, you know exactly what the fields are, so you can get them and just load them in ahead of time. This way you're not having to put them in and take the time to click and add the fields in here, because to add a field you got to go here to merge tags. So I just did it all. I did a copy, search, and replace in my Word document, and then I did it for all the fields that I know I want to load in to all of my emails, right? So by doing this, I'm not having to go back and forth to the document. I just went in and grabbed it, and now I'm just pasting it in. Another tip, when you're naming it, you want to do, if you can, put it in order and put the day that you want to send it, because when you go to build the campaign, you're going to want this information handy, and you won't have to go back and forth and do some referencing and cross-referencing. It'll be a pain in the you-know-what. So I'm trying to do it as fast and easy as possible. So I did that by naming it correctly. You'll also notice I put a star at the beginning, because when I go to search for it, when I'm building the campaign, it'll be way easier for me to find all of my templates because there's a star at the beginning, and I'll show you how that works. But all right, so now I did this, and now I'm ready to save this thing. And so it's funny because they don't say save, they say clone. Okay, so it took me a minute or two to figure that out because I thought I was putting the original template back in. So I'm going to go ahead and hit clone on that. All right. And then now I have it in here. So you'll note when I go to search for it, if I just go up to the search box and hit the star everything that I've done is here, right? So I know that this is letter number 5 and it's day 21, which is going to be important when I go to build the campaign up, all right? Now, my suggestion to you is to test this thing on yourself. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and send myself a test. So how am I doing that? I'm going into my CRM, and I'm relatively new to KVCORE, so I don't have a whole lot of leads in here, so this is pretty easy to do. But I added myself in a few different ways. And so I'm going to use this email address. By the way, I'm noticing that a lot of stuff going straight to Gmail is going into spam. And I believe, unfortunately, it is a KVCORE issue, but I'm not. Part of it's that. I think part of it could be other things, but I've tested my template a few different ways and took out links and took out the buttons and finding it going straight into the spam folder in the Gmail accounts. And I've got 3 different Gmail accounts. Now this is a G Suite email address that I have here to my consulting business that I have. And so I'm going to send it over there. So when I run the test, I'm going to go send email, right? I added myself in as a lead. And now I'm going to send an email to myself as a lead. I'm just going to click here and I'm going to find it fast. Just click the star again and all your templates you have are here that you built. And then I'm going to go ahead and send day 21. And it should load up in here. The subject line and everything, right? So this is what it looks like. Now I'm going to just come down here and click send, right? I'm going to send it. All right. So now I'm going to head over to my inbox and see if it showed up. All righty. So it did show up. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that and see how it looks. So here's how it looks. My signature line field was put in, so it is here. I like to look at this because to see exactly what it looks like. It looks a little kind of bulky. I might go and change the size of this because like I said, this is all somewhat new to me, and so I am going to change that. Another thing I might do, I don't like how small this print is, so I am going to change that out as well. Because these are templates that I'm building for other people, I did put the field in to my website URL here. You could conceivably not do this if you're building them for yourself and just put in somewhere for them to come and learn more about you or whatever. And then I've got these buttons, but I wanted to show you when I click on the buttons, it's taken them over to my website, right? Hopefully if it loads, right? So here's my EXP website that it's taking it to. So that's good. I know you want to test it, make sure everything's working. The next thing I did was also put in a request for a question or schedule a visit that I built into my drip campaign. And so when you click on it, it creates this, right? So then I can, as the consumer, could write back real quick to this. So that's kind of convenient, schedule a visit or whatever. And so, there's a couple things about this I'd probably want to clean up. I don't, like I said, I don't particularly like the size of the text. So I'm going to actually come back over and go back into that template that I built. So let me close it out and go back over to the template and go back into the marketing campaigns and go back to the template. And again, how do I find it fast? Just put a star because those are all my campaign templates. And I'm going to go into that particular one, which is day 21, right? So I'm going to go and click edit. So I'm going to edit the size of the template or the font because I don't love it. I actually meant to do that earlier. Another thing to know is this settings thing here. When you're building up your emails, if you'll note that when you drag this right and left, what happens is this thing does not really center very well in your emails if you leave it the way it is here. So I like to stretch it back out. But if you want to see what you're doing, then you want to come in and hit the settings. This isn't so user friendly, I'm not going to lie. This thing is kind of a pain in the butt at times. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and click Control All and then change the template size or the font size to 14. Right, and then the signature field is pulling in from the system. So if I want to edit what's going on with that, I got to go into the system and edit it, and I will eventually do that. But all right, so I'm fine with that. So now what I'm going to do is just spread this back out because I'd rather have it out there like that, and everything else seems fine. And now all I need to do is just update the template here. I'll click on Update. All right. So there's that, all right? So now if I was going to build this campaign, I'm going to come over to the campaign builder and add a campaign. So I've got a new campaign that I'm basically it's going to be used not just for me, but for other people maybe on my team. So I'm actually going to just go, I'm actually not clicking on any of that. I'm going to click on this and just say no trigger right now because I'm trying to build it. This is a seller campaign. And then I'm just going to call this seller valuation campaign. So if somebody asks about what's my home worth, you can put a description and stuff in here. I'm going to put no right now, locked. I am assuming that's locked, meaning not the rest of the world can see this, but I got to check on that. All right, so I'm going to go on and click on next, and then, whoops, I got to put a description in. Let's see, use for any seller lead. For right now, that's what I'm going to do because I can always edit this later. I'm going to go ahead and hit next, and then add the campaign. And then I'm just going to add one thing to this campaign. Now, one of the things I realized was happening too is that it doesn't just load up down here sometimes. So in order for you to see it, there it goes. Okay. Again, I might also suggest if you end up doing a lot of campaigns of your own, might suggest you put that star in here so you can find it all later. But if you're going to go into the big library, but anyway, so there we go. I'm going to go back now and click on that, and I'm going to add that email action to this. And this is where it gets like, what the hell did I call it? Well, without going back and forth, I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to click on the template first. I'm going to hit star, and then I'm going to go steps to selling fast. Well, I know it's steps to selling fast. So the problem is you can't copy it, right? See, I tried to copy it. You can't copy it. Whoops, that's not what I want. Hold on. Let's go back, hit the star. Go the steps to selling fast. So you'd think you could copy it and name it. So this is where, to me, KVCORE is a little bulky. Why am I doing this 10 zillion times? It's kind of annoying. But so instead, I'm just going to go I'm going to go, I don't need to say seller because I know it's in the seller campaign. So I'm just going to go steps to selling fast. Because this is what I'm going to refer to. I'm just going to go day 21 on this. This is what I'm going to refer to when I want to look at it and see exactly what's going on. So I know this is day 21. So I'm going to pick out day and I'm going to go 21. Okay, so here's another kind of wonky thing about, as far as I'm concerned, I've been in a shit ton of CRMs. I can't actually pick out a time when I want this to send. When you're picking out a day in the future. And I think that's kind of unfortunate. So I don't really know how this thing bases when it's going to send. So that's kind of bad. For me, I kind of like to send my mail between 10 and 11. I don't like to send it first thing in the morning. It could end up in spam, could end up in people's junk and garbage, or who knows if it's sending late. I honestly, that's one of those questions I'm going to find out about eventually, but I don't love that part of this system. And like I said earlier, the spam folder, it seemed, I tested it on 3 different things, 3 different emails, and it ended up in spam a couple times with and without buttons. So I'm really questioning exactly where all this stuff's coming from. So my suggestion is that you test it, not on your own email necessarily. If you've got 2 or 3 different email addresses, you might want to try one template and try it to 3 different email addresses if you can. Maybe one to a Gmail, one to a Yahoo if you've got it. If you've got anybody that you can send it to. And then, because I'm finding it going into spam quite a bit, and it's just unfortunate. And I'm one of the best for getting my mail in the inbox. So it's just too bad. But anyway, so this was day 21. I am going to go in and fill in the rest of the days on this. I just pulled this particular template. But what I know is that because I had the name of it, I knew exactly what day. And so that was the point I was trying to make, is if you name this thing correctly when you are naming it, and this is not the subject line, this is when you're naming it, everything you're doing will show up in order in here, right? So if I wanted to add another action, let me just say I want to add in day 3, right? I'm going to go to day 3 because I think I had a day 3 that I had in here, or a letter, yeah, day 3. So if I do day 3, I know it's selling or curious, so I'm just going to have to put a name in here, selling or curious. I know it's day 3, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put day 3. So I can see this out at the main screen. It's just kind of, anyway. So day 3 when you're building it. And you can just go day 3, and hopefully it'll pull it in. And actually, that's the other weird wonky thing. When you type in 3, it doesn't pull it in. Like, what happened? This is so weird. Like, what happened in the beginning? Okay, there it is. When you just type 3, it's a little wonky, I'm noticing. So it's not like pulling it in instantly. All right, so go ahead and hit add. Now, the point here is that now it just loaded in. It's day 3, day 3. I can see all that. You may or may not need to put this in here when you're actually naming it because it's showing up here. But it's good reference because who knows where else it's going to show up. So if you can, the more you can reference it, the better it's going to be, and not having to go back and forth, okay, to like, what was the name of that? What day was that going out? And the other tip I have is like, do the emails first and then go back and do the templates for the texts, okay? Then because the texts are coming in at different days and you're using 2 different areas where you're trying to track the templates down and it's just not really clear. So do the text, do the emails first and then add the text later. Okay, that's my first tip for using KVCORE on doing things fast, basically. If you are looking at this and going, oh my God, I don't want to do this, I do have a package out there to help load this stuff in for you. I have figured for about a 33 touch campaign, it's taking an hour plus to get the campaign in. Now that we know this is the fastest we can do, or it's taking about an hour in my world. In your world, I don't know, because it just depends on how good or not good you are at doing this stuff. But if you want to do it, this is what I did. I'm just showing you. So, all right, we'll see you later. Reach out if you want help doing this and not doing it yourself. Okay, thanks. Bye.